Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 314 of the J Situation Podcast. I'm recording this on July 15th, 2026. Hope everyone's doing okay. Man, the rain the past few days down here in Texas has flooded a lot of areas, so stay on high ground, avoid tornadoes. Did you know there's a tornado in South Texas today? One of the first ones I've ever seen. Pretty crazy. We're publishing a day later than typical this week because we've just been so busy with testing. And you know what? What's really cool about it, there's some things that are going through our testing lately that are really exciting us. I mean, I'm telling you, I'm getting personally excited about some of it. And the crazy part is that we're in the summer now, which means we've been consistently impressed with new silencer performance for a full half a year, the whole first half of 2026, and we still have half the year left, it's so great to see. You know, I wasn't sure what was going to happen when these tax stamps went to zero, and so far the innovation keeps coming, and I think it's the 3D printing making ideas come to life, or allowing ideas to come to life. I really do think that, and it's just so great to see. Today, actually, speaking of 3D printing, today, a new report is being published on the LayerX Strake 9. LayerX it's a relatively new company in the space, and the Strake 9 is a compact subgun silencer that you can also use on pistols and even rifles if you like, according to the manufacturer. And as you can imagine, it's 3D printed based on the name of the company, LayerX. Get it? Anyway, so actually, and we tested this a while back. We tested this on the MP5. So you will see that report today, and we are going to hit an intro for that silencer on today's episode as well. Okay. Also on today's episode, we're going to dip our toes back into listener questions, continuing to answer those from Solicitation 8. We're now into the 600s in total. We have answered over 600 of your questions on this podcast, and we will tackle some more today. It's actually one of my favorite segments personally, and I know a lot of you enjoy it too. Chances are, if you have a question about silencers, there are a lot of other people that have that same question. So we love when you ask them. There are no dumb questions. And even if we've touched on it in a related way before, elaborating on it again, even with new information we've learned over the years, can't hurt. Okay? I think we can all learn together, which is, at the end of the day, the goal. Okay, let's get on with the show. If you've been here before, well, you're certainly welcome back. We're glad to have you. If you're new to the podcast, well, you've come to the right place to learn about silencers, and really happy you're here. And there are timestamps in the episode description to skip to wherever you would like. All right? If you want to hang around with me a little longer, I'm basically going to read some ads to tell you about the companies that make this podcast possible. Over 300 episodes. It's crazy. The first one is Legion Athletics, because nothing you do is worth doing without consistency. If you want to do things all the time, if you want to be good at them, right? And so Legion Athletics can help you with that. Pre-workout, post-workout, vitamins, minerals, creatine, all kinds of supplements. They don't have everything you need, but they have a lot of it. So visit legionathletics.com, link in the show notes. Code word PewScience, buy one, get one, 50% off your entire cart. Keep using the code going forward to get cash back on every order, which is a no-brainer because you're going to order this stuff. You know, I heard today there's a news article that the DOD or the DOW, whatever they call the Department of War now, they're saying the Army, or maybe it's just it's a DOD general general directive that soldiers over 30 are going to be eligible for testosterone replacement therapy. I was like, wait, what? That's very interesting. Anyway, the reason I bring that up is because if you are a drug-tested athlete and you can't take that stuff, you can buy from Legion, and you'll rest assured you're not going to fail a drug test. So that's good. Get strong. It's important. Podcast is also brought to you by the fine folks at Silencer Shop. They've done a lot, not only for consumers, but also for the industry, and tons of dealers nationwide. If you're a dealer looking to get started in the space and can't hold a lot of inventory, you can use their kiosk, give folks a money-back guarantee, not pay any transfer fees, There's not going to be any paperwork errors. It's just you and your silencer with no drama. Silencer ownership simplified. The podcast is also brought to you by Top Gun Range, Houston, H-Town. Kyle and his crew down there, they are just waiting for you to come by on a business trip with your buddies and friends and wife and kids and whatever, and go to their 15-lane indoor shooting range with the largest firearm rental fleet in the whole state of Texas and have fun, shoot suppressed small arms, shoot machine guns, all kinds of stuff. You can check out their rental inventory on their website, and you can find them on Instagram all day long at Top Gun Range. They like memes. They use an in-house AI tool to help their staff talk about silencers in the shop there. And you know what data feeds the AI tool? Pew Science. Crazy. Also, Capital Armory sponsors the podcast. They're deep in the heart of Texas. And they're true NFA junkies, true NFA experts. They really like silencers. They live them, they breathe them, always have, always will. And if you live in one of the 42 states where silencers are legal and you work nights and you just can't get to your gun store, Capital Armory can just ship them right to your door, which is nuts. 2026, I'm telling you what. Okay, so check those guys out. And finally, the podcast is brought to you by the Pew Science Laboratory. I keep running this thing somehow. They haven't kicked me out yet. I'm the technical director. In the interest of public education, we have continued to sponsor this podcast. We have continued to run a public research effort 6 years running to push the silencer industry forward one test at a time. You can visit our website at pewscience.com for the suppression rating. It is very simple. It simplifies the science for you. It's the simplest and most accurate hearing safe rating for your suppressed small arms, and it's based on true human inner ear response of the entire gunshot from before the combustion takes place all the way until all the combustion is gone, all the mechanical operation of the weapon system has ceased. It's very consistent, and it's part of the silencer sound standard where there's 8 sections, and it's the most in-depth and accurate silencer data analysis in the world. And it's all available to the public 24/7 at pewscience.com. And just so you know, we're never going to tell you what silencers to buy. We only exist to show you how silencers actually perform. So we're not going to try to sway your decisions in any of that stuff. Okay, it's your choice what you buy, objective physics or what we're trying to teach you. Okay, we want to let you know what happens when you pull the trigger. Okay, and so you can support this podcast and Pew Science and all the public testing we do by joining with the membership at pewscience.com. You get more data, you get a length and weight filters and a chart to help you out, to look at different models. But if you don't want to join, that's okay. You know, almost all the data is free. All the suppression rating metrics are free for you, always. And you know, you can just throw us a bone every once in a while and donate on the podcast page or review page. And if you don't want to donate, that's okay too. You don't have to pay any money. Just let folks know that silencers and guns are awesome, and we can all normalize the use of suppressed small arms together. Okay, just share the podcast, share the website, and like and subscribe and all that good stuff. 2 topics today. We're going to do the intro to the LayerX Strake 9, and then we're going to do listener questions. So we'll get started with the Strake 9 topic at a time of 8 minutes and 40 seconds. All right, sound signature review 6/231, LayerX Strake 9 MP5 testing. It's been about 3 months since you've seen the MP5. I believe the last one you saw was the Otter Creek Labs Universe 36, which we showed on 3 different hosts at once, one of those being the MP5. So welcome back, subgun friends. So today we're introducing the relatively light and compact Strake 9. More companies are obviously entering the 3D printed space, hybrid designs, and low back pressure. It's common. So what happens when the silencers are small, though, and they do that, right? You know, when you look at this, you're like, well, can this beat a HUXWRX Cash 9K at its own game? Well, we're going to talk about that today in this intro. And I have to say, I think we should be doing more subgun stuff. You know, the AR-15 has just been in such high demand, and I think it's just a sign of the times. But as all silencer lovers know, there are few things in the shooting world more enjoyable than a suppressed MP5. I mean, when you really think about it, I mean, there's really few things that are more enjoyable than that. And to be clear, I am saying MP5, even though the laboratory test host is an SP5. So instead of Mike, we're talking about Sierra, SP5. For those of you new to the world of HK, welcome. And new to Pew Science in general, we use the official non-clone HK manufactured semi-automatic analog to the HK MP5 submachine gun, which is designated the SP5. We use that for testing, and specifically, we use the A2 variant, the Alpha 2 variant, which is the best variant for actual shooting. It's the one with a fixed stock. And even more specifically, we use the HK 80-degree locking pieces in the full size and the K gun. The K gun being the semi-automatic analog to the MP5K, which is the SP5K-PDW. Okay. So why, you may ask, do we use an 80-degree locking piece in the MP5s we use for testing? We've spoken about it before, and it's also in today's report. And I can give you a breakdown refresher next episode on the technical deep dive for the silencer. But it's basically tuning an HKMP5 with factory parts. That's the long and short of it. And believe me, you want us to do that to show you the tippy-top potential of a subgun can, which is what you want to know, because it's what we want to know. So that's why we do it. And speaking of the silencer, that we're going to be examining in the deep dive for you next week, but for the report published today, the LayerX Strake 9. It's kind of a smaller silencer. It's a newish company. I'll call them new. One of many new companies that have started up this year with the $0 tax stamp demand gold rush, which is really what it is. It's like a gold rush. Everyone's jumping into silencers. The silencer they asked our laboratory to evaluate is called the Strake 9. It is a titanium 9mm PCC silencer, as they call it, pistol caliber carbine silencer. I prefer the term subgun silencer, but I'm old. The terms are largely synonymous now. You can PCC or subgun is the same thing, or should be. Because subgun is sub-caliber machine gun, sub-caliber. So subgun, submachine gun, sub-caliber munition is a pistol cartridge. So it's to differentiate it from a machine gun. It's a submachine gun. And now they call them PCCs because, machine guns became illegal from the Hughes Amendment in 1986. And you can only get, transferables. But now there's FRTs. So it's like, okay, maybe we can go back to call them subguns. I don't know. I describe this as a compact, the Strake 9, as a compact subgun silencer, not because it's particularly compact as all silencers go, but because it's compact for a subgun silencer. And according to our measurements, it's 6.4 inches long with no mount and 1.5 inches in diameter. And that is pretty small for a subgun silencer. And also, without a mount, it's only 8.5 ounces, so because it's titanium. So now you're going to gain a little bit of weight and a little bit of length, depending on what you choose to mount the silencer with, and it is hub compatible. And so you could pick direct thread, you could pick 3-lug, maybe try a third-party inertial decoupler or booster assembly if you're daring, to maybe put it on a tilting barrel pistol. If you're daring, if you want to ride the lightning. But, basically it has that flexibility. And something that LayerX told me, and they did somewhat tell me this because I asked them the question. Let me just give you some background. I ask people, what is something you want folks to know about this silencer? Which is what I ask all of our clients because they don't get any say about what we write in the report. So I want to at least make sure, that we know something that they really want people to understand, just so if it's something they really intended as like a design goal or something, or like a feature, that we can at least address it to say, is it real or not type of thing, because we're going to we always figure out whether a manufacturer claim is true or not. And we want to know what they're claiming, or what we want people to know, so we can be educated enough to tell you if it's real or not. They told me they want people to know that it's meant for shooter's ear comfort and or operator comfort. Okay. That's what they told me. So I said, okay. And in this case, and this is easy for me to tell you because I didn't ask them that question until after we had finished testing. And let me tell you what, that is actually what our data shows. That this silencer has high flow rate, and it's not going to win any super quiet silencer awards, in my opinion. Not that those awards are even real. I mean, have you seen those awards? They're not real. but what I'm saying is that the suppression rating at the mil standard muzzle measurement location is competitive with some stuff, but it's not a world beater. Okay. So just know that when you see it, but it's doing well for the operator given what it's doing. And remember, this is a 6.5 inch long, 1.5 inch diameter subgun can. So don't expect miracle babies here. Now it'll be neat to go through the technical deep dive next week. But until then, what I would like to turn your attention to in this report, that you'll see in the morning around 0700 Central or so, is the flow rate and how we know the flow rate is high. I really want to make sure people understand we do quantify back pressure and examine it when we test on semi-autos. The blast physics are visible to everyone. And when you see these blast pressure and impulse waveforms, you will most certainly see that their high flow rate claims are true. It's unequivocal in the data, actually. Now, are there claims about shooter's ear and or operator comfort true? Like on their face? Well, I think given the size of the silencer and how it's performing, I would say that it's somewhat true, although I can tell you that it's very similar to a HUXWRX Cash 9K in some ways, in a gross sense, with two main differences, really. Well, maybe three main differences. One difference is the Cash 9K is smaller. Other difference is that the Strake 9 has way better first-round pop control. The third difference is apparently, according to the LayerX website, you can and manufacturer, you can shoot 5.56 and 308 through this. I would definitely, and here, this is just my thing, I would definitely call them and talk with them about that before you do it. It's not that I think it's going to break, but I really want to know barrel length, restriction, and firing schedule, and I would want to hear someone tell me that makes the silencer. That's one of those things, like, just for safety reasons, I like to talk to real people about. Shooting full rifle cartridge through basically what appears to be a pistol silencer always makes me personally feel like I want to talk to a real person first. All right, just a gut feel. I hope they don't get mad at me for telling people to call them, but hey, they give the caliber rate on the website, and I think being double sure is smart. I mean, that's my opinion. Now, it should be strong. I mean, it is DMLS titanium. Heck, you can shoot 308 through a very popular subgun silencer that is really, really highly rated with sound suppression that, has incredibly high suppression ratings, and it's titanium. And we should publish that. Anyway, this Strake 9 is titanium and kind of small, but not too small. It's also kind of similar to shooting a dead air Wolfman in the short configuration, but with actually low back pressure instead of the make-believe low back pressure from the Wolfman. Or at least how the Wolfman was sold to all of us when it came out, right? So that's a good peg point to know. Sort of like a Cash 9K and a short Wolfman, but with the low back pressure of the Cash 9, without the FRP of the Cash 9, and without the back pressure of a Wolfman. I think that's a good MP5 performance summary. I hope I didn't spoil the whole review for you. I just wanted to kind of tell you, get down to brass tacks here, give you some real information. some practical information to know. Now, if you want, like, that's basically it. So, like, just to let's we're all friends here. If you want an MP5 to be really, really quiet, use a bigger and higher performance silencer with a special quiet ammo. Like, now, if you want to use full power subsonic defense loads or the analog for practice, which is the test load we use, which is Spear Lom and 147 grain, and you still want it to be quiet, you need to use an advanced, bigger silencer. Okay? All of our MP5 data on the website is with full power ammo, and all of our test data is raw, unfiltered blast measurements. We do this for conservatism and realism for the public. That is why we do it, for safety. Okay? I think all in all, I like to see these smaller subgun silencers come available and put out by companies. I do think there's a place in the market for them. I think that LayerX did achieve what they were going for here with regard to shooter comfort based on our test data. Like when we did a powwow after we were done with testing, and then we talked to them about what they thought the silencer did, which we try not to talk to companies about before we test. I think they achieved it. Again, look at the report, and we can talk more about when that shooter comfort may be great, or maybe when that comfort may be not so great in different environments and stuff, based on the physics of what we see in the blast tests. Okay? And we can talk about that next week in the deep dive. And remember, we have PSoft HD. We can simply add an environment to it and show you what will happen. Right? Remember, we can do that. So huge thanks to LayerX for trusting us to evaluate their silencer. They are clearly no stranger to third-party evaluations. They've had other people test their silencer too, other labs. And we're honored that we could add to that independent evaluation record for them. You know, they don't just hire us; they hire all kinds of other people to test for them. It's good. That's great. They're getting different perspectives and different analysis, you know, for their products. So they're clearly trying to improve, or at least let their customers know how their products are performing, which is good. Okay, we hope they use all this data analysis to their benefit, and we hope the customers do too, you know? And so in keeping with the theme of the next topic, perhaps you folks can email us your questions about this report when you read it in the morning, and then I can then answer them on the deep dive episode. Okay? Maybe we should start doing that as a theme. Maybe on these intro talks, you think of questions after you read the report, and then you email me those questions, and then we answer the questions on the deep dives. Wouldn't that be something? You know what I mean? Okay, let's do listener questions now at a time of 23 minutes and 11 seconds. Okay. Listener questions are back. One moment. Yeah, we're going to dive back into Solicitation 8 to answer your queries. We're going to learn more about silencers. And remember, you can always find the other episodes with listener questions over the years by clicking on the metadata tag, which I'm going to link in the show notes for you. Okay? It will pull up all the listener questions episodes on the website at pewscience.com/podcast. Okay, so I'm going to open our wondrous spreadsheet here. Make sure I have this here. And we will begin. And, you know, we'll... 1, 2, 3... Okay, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6... We'll answer a few. Okay? Let's see how far we get. And it'll be fun. So last time on the 8th solicitation, we left off on question 6. Well, the last one we answered was question 603, sub-question 13 of the 8th solicitation. And that question was, what have you discovered from your personal use of silencers that require regular cleaning? And that was a really good question. And I think it was a really thoughtful question because, you know, a lot of people are thinking about cleaning silencers nowadays. And I went on to answer that question in so many words, talking about, you know, what to do with silencers that require regular cleaning, like rimfire silencers, and then some other things. So if you want to hear more about that, You can, again, click on the metadata tag on the website and find that the last episode, listener questions, and listen to that, okay? We'll now hit question 604, so question 14. And this, when I was transcribing this is a long one. This gentleman on social media, when we did the solicitation, he put multi-parts to it, and it was one big question. So I'm going to read the whole question to you, and then I'm going to try to answer it bit by bit, I think, okay? Okay, here it goes. His question: if the DSX got such a point bump at the ear from the Mark 18 to the Surge platform from essentially being a tuned host, would you expect similar at-ear performance from the Cat ST on the untuned M4 to a tuned 16-inch mid-length system? I believe that's what okay, I'm trying to read this. Okay, and then he says, I think the primary point of my question is, since the Tisha is designed for a specific blast load and the Cat ST is more quote-unquote universal, and you've said it's more scalable, what kind of quantifiable benefit would you expect from actual tuning? Or would it be more appropriate to just get a higher ranking at-ear suppressor from your list? Final part, I think. No worries, man. I think I know what you're asking. Let me kind of distill this down. So he's saying, so what this gentleman's referencing is, there's a report, there's two reports on the website, 6110 and 6111, several years ago, on the Maximum Defense DSX silencer, which is a conventional monocore, high back pressure, large 5.56 can that was tested on the untuned Mark 18, and it was also tested on their DSX Surge system, which is essentially a Mark 18 with a smaller gas port. It's a tuned upper. And what you saw in reports 6, 110, and 111 was that the silencer performs very similarly on Mark 18 and the tuned Mark 18, except the shooter's ear hazard dropped significantly and the suppression rate of the shooter's ear jumped. And so he's saying, well, if that happened to the Surge system, would that also happen with the Cat ST going from an untuned M4 to a 16-inch mid-length? And then he's saying, well, his really big point here is that, he sees the Tisha, which is a lot of people like that silencer, is really great on short barrels, super high, super optimized for super short barrels. But then where the Cat ST is like kind of universal, it's supposed to do good in all the different ranges. He's asking, well, how much benefit would you get from tuning? And then he's asking what to buy, which I'm not going to tell him. So let me try to answer the question. So the first part of your question is, are you going to get a point bump from the ST or on the ST at the ear with tuning a gun? Yeah. You're going to get a point bump with a lot of stuff. I mean, if not higher than the Surge. I don't know. I can't exactly be sure, but if you tune an AR, oh my goodness. If you now, I mean, it's going to go up. Now, if the shooter's ear suppression rate is going to go up. If you tune an AR with a silencer that has a high early time flow rate like the ST, but still has restricted late time flow rate, man, I would venture to guess you're going to be sounding pretty dang good at the shooter's ear. Because remember, the Maximum Defense DSX, that thing has high back pressure everywhere in time. The Cat ST is not a high back pressure silencer. Its early time flow rate is pretty high, but it does have that restricted late time because it's meant to be super duper quiet. Okay, which is the only way to do that, really. So so if you tune for that, yeah, of course it's gonna perform really well. I mean, in operator protection, it's gonna climb with a tuned gun. Now secondly, you brought up the Tisha, and to be clear, I think it's very important to understand why the Tisha thrives when the input pressure gets very high. Now, keep in mind that what Stealth Additive Works did was build a silencer that almost requires high pressure to fully exercise all the cavities inside. They really did. I like to use the analogy of saturation pressure, which I do think is too simplistic, but I think it does get the point across. Imagine you want to touch all the little bits inside, and you have to get above a certain pressure threshold to do that. And because a gunshot out of a barrel is a dynamic event, you have to get to that pressure really early, okay? What's a really good way to do that? Well, you can shorten your gun barrel. And that is why the Tisha will start to pull away from the ST by a little bit on the Mark 18. But on the M4, the ST pulls away from the Tisha. So with regard to back pressure, yeah, the ST does have a bit higher back pressure than the Tisha, but it's not incredibly high. And tuning your gun with both silencers is actually recommended, in my opinion. Like I'll just give you an example, a personal example. None of my personal ARs are untuned for the silencer they have, unless I'm running a HUXWRX. It would be clinically insane not to tune an AR in 2026 with what we know from Pew Science research. And you know what? Frankly, even with HUXWRX silencers, I've tuned because I just don't like overgassed ARs. It's just not my jam. Now, to the last part of your question, sir, as far as what is appropriate to get, remember, I can't tell you that. I'm never, ever going to recommend something. Pew Science is not that type of place. And everyone else that tests silencers will tell you what to buy, but we will not. But I can tell you how a silencer may or may not meet your needs. I don't know what you're looking to do. I would say the ST is an incredible silencer, and so is the Tisha. Let me know what you need the silencer to do and what your goals are, and I can help you understand if either of them or both of them or none of them will meet your goals. And it also might come down to looks, or you might like different t-shirts or something. That's why I don't get involved in purchases. It's too personal. It's too personal. Okay. I hope that helps you. I hope that helps all of you. Because I think some of the questions he's asking are like really, really commonly asked. So it's good. Okay. All right. Question 605, sub question 15. Is a cheat sheet for which cans get better with longer barrel length versus not possible? Basically kind of a flyer or cheat sheet to say, oh, like these type of silencers are scale with barrel length, these don't. Is that possible? Yeah, it's definitely possible. Is it practical yet? I don't know. I can usually, it's funny, if you like email us, tech@pewscience.com or pro@pewscience.com if you're a pro member, and like you have this question, if you have a question about a silencer and based on our testing and how it would do on a different weapon, I answer those questions all the time, guys and girls. Like that's literally the point of a pro Pew Science membership. Like I literally will, because we, based on the physics and the type of silencer, we can know it, but we have to really think about like what you're actually doing with it. But it's not so cut and dry. So I'd rather you just ask me. It's easier, I think, for you and for me. I wouldn't want to extrapolate some huge chart that's like maybe this and maybe that. I'm like, no, let me just give you like an engineering opinion, candidly in writing, and then you can take that to the bank. Because I'm not going to tell you anything. I'm not going to ever tell you something I don't know to sound smart or something. If I don't know something, I'll tell you I don't know. Okay? You got to know when to say you don't know. It's important. Question 606, sub-question 16. Can you use your influence to solicit a variable mass bolt for a Ruger Mark IV to tune with? This is a follow-on to, because they know I've made a special clamp-on bolt for Ruger Mark IVs so that I can tune my Mark IVs myself. Look, to be clear, dude, the chances of Pew Science influencing Ruger are like 0.000. The chances of us just partnering with a manufacturer to do this and sell the product, well, less than zero, I guess. Let me ask your opinion. This is for all of you. I'm just asking you. If Pew Science sold doohickeys, like what he's talking about, like a variable mass bolt thing, would that be okay with you, or would people freak out? Like, would companies accuse us of some type of bias because we sold a widget? Because that could be. Because our whole thing is like we don't sell or design silencers, but like, what if we sold like variable mass bolts? Like, would that be okay with you? Like, if we had Pew Science bolts that were awesome? I don't know. Like, in my opinion, since it's not a silencer, I feel like we could sell that widget, but people get really sensitive and they get really, really upset. So would that upset the world? I don't know. Let me know your thoughts. I'd be interested to hear the opinion of you folks. So I'm glad you brought it up, sir. I mean, I might be willing to do something like that. I don't know. Question 607, sub-question 17. Any chance of you adding a third microphone downrange of the muzzle? Seems some silencers are directing blast forward, so operator wrist is down. Still signature downrange, though. Yeah. Hey, sure, buddy. Tell me where you want it. Email tech@pewscience.com. If instead you want me to tell you where I think the best place for it is, I can also suggest a place for it where you want to know, because depending on what you really want to know, I can do that. In the meantime, though, you do have the hazard maps, which should help a lot. But I do recognize they lack some fidelity for some of the exact mechanisms that you maybe want to explore. But I can tell you, if you have a silencer with really, really high distal momentum and you look at the hazard map, it's going to show you that visually. So if you are not seeing that where you think you should be seeing it, let's talk about it and give me an example, and I can walk through the limitations of the map. Okay? That might help. So you can email me at tech@pewscience.com. Question 608, sub-question 18. Do you think the DSX upper ear numbers test is relatable to lower back pressure designs? Oh man, it's so interesting. Another DSX question, but from a different person. The solicitation must have happened right after I mentioned that case study or something. Because I've mentioned it over the years because it's so valuable. It's basically a tuned AR case study, 6110 and 6111. So your question, do you think the ear number, the suppression rating of the shooter's ear increasing is relatable to lower back pressure designs? I mean, in some ways, kind of, in that some low back pressure designs will put the Mark 18 to the 30s at the ear. We've seen that happen. More are coming that we've tested. But a low back pressure design doing that on an untuned Mark 18 and a high back pressure silencer doing that on a tuned Mark 18 are two different things. Okay? It's possible that if you tune the gun for the low back pressure silencer, you still get even better at the ear. That also might not happen if the flow rate is so high that the muzzle blast overwhelms the shooter. Okay. So and there's also the elephant in the room about rapid fire. Even if you tune your gun, if your silencer has really high back pressure and you mag dump, you may get gassed out because the expansion of gases has happened into superheated space and it's going to suffer. So it's that gas stack phenomena. So, I mean, did I say that clearly? You guys know, if you have, okay, everyone knows if you have a high back pressure silencer on an AR, you want to tune the AR, right? Okay. But you also know, like I said earlier, if you have a HUXWRX silencer that's high flow rate, you can still tune your gun and increase protection because there's still ejection port blast coming out of the gun. You might be overgassed even without a silencer. And so when you suppress the muzzle blast, the overgassed nature of your gun will start to matter with risk because the muzzle blast isn't killing you anymore. Okay? But a corollary to that I just mentioned, that I want to make sure you understand, is that if your silencer's flow rate is so high, let's a HUXWRX Flow 556K, incredible ejection port blast reduction, but the muzzle blast suppression is not good. So, not so hot. So, if you tune your gun for a Flow 556K, I don't see that ear rating ever getting up higher because the muzzle blast is too intense. You've hit the limit, probably. I can say that without testing that case, based on physics. Does that make sense? I think sometimes people miss that. Question 609, sub-question 19. How is the family doing? Oh, personal question. Well, thank you. Well, first of all, thanks for asking. Really good, sir. thanks for asking, man. Our kids are they're talking more now. They're potty training, all that stuff. It's pretty wild having twin toddlers running around. Such blessings. And then Mrs. Pew Science is doing well. She's doing her stuff, being super mom too, and all that good stuff. We're blessed, man. I hope everyone listening has a happy and healthy family. Maybe you should call your mom if you haven't called her in a while. She misses you, you know. No, man, thanks. No, family's good. Happy and healthy. Kids are riots now. The toddler stage is just just the stuff they do and say is just like, it's amazing, man. I don't know. Being a parent's like, I don't know, one of the greatest joys in the world. It's almost as cool as silencers. No, just kidding. It's way cooler than silencers. Question 610, sub-question 20. Would you ever consider a voting poll for members to vote on the next can analyzed? Yeah, we've considered that over the years. And look, I might have an unfounded concern, but I do have somewhat of a concern of brigading by bad actors in the industry. But maybe, you're right. Maybe if it's members only voting, I can curtail that abuse. I think that's probably why you asked it, I would suspect. So yeah, of course. I think that might be a cool thing to do. So yeah, you can give me some ideas for that. Maybe, should we also give prizes or something? I was thinking we could give away some silencers from our lab inventory. We were telling that to Capital Armory the other day. I was talking with them and I was like, how do you think it would be cool if, because we have so many, we don't need all these silencers. It's so stupid. You're not using them. You test them. It's sitting there. Usually, we'll give them back to the manufacturer after we test, or if it's like, for example, like shipped back some silencers recently to Top Gun Range had loaned some silencers for testing. We just shipped those back to them. We try to ship them back. I hate hanging on to them. There are future research things we can do, but I like to send them. Maybe we just start giving them to people. I don't know. If you let me know your thoughts. If you think that's cool, like how would you like to know? How would you like to have Pew Science as tested on Pew Science and specimen or something and give it away to someone? That'll make their day, I think. I don't want to sell them. I think it'd be cool to give them away. Anyway, sub question 611 or question 611, sub question 21. In your experience, do higher maintenance designs hold up long term? And what's your favorite cleaner? Oh, in my experience, man, I can tell you, I don't want to sound like I'm endorsing a silencer. So I can tell you, I've used a silencer from a popular manufacturer for a while that's relatively complex inside, and I haven't cleaned it yet, and it seems to be doing just fine. But I don't have good test experience to tell you, like as far as suppression performance, if it's reduced yet. I'm not talking about rimfire. Rimfire, I think you should clean all the time. I'm talking about center fire. I'll give an example of a cleaner that I kind of want to try, but I haven't tried yet. I have yet to try that cat cleaner. Well, I forgot what it's called. 209, 207, 209, whatever. And honestly, I'm going to come right out and say it. It kind of scares me. I'm not afraid to admit that. I've heard it will eat every metal except for Inconel and titanium. It will eat stainless steel, but somehow not eat a styrofoam cup. And I think it's going to eat concrete too. I do not know what it is. Okay? It's some type of acid. I don't know what it. I am not a chemist, and I know. Here's something you might learn about me. I know enough to know when my knowledge stops. Like, you'll see, like I talk a lot about blast physics. I talk a lot about how silencers sound. I talk a lot about how silencers behave, the pressures of the weapon system, like material strengths, like durability. I talk a lot about safety for humans because that's my expertise. But what my expertise is not is chemistry. I am just not. I'm not a chemist. Never claimed to be. I know enough to be dangerous. I can speak intelligently about like structures and molecules and stuff, but I don't know enough about certain materials and interactions to give you like, without doing a lot of research, to give you like really, really good opinions. And so I usually rely on the MSDS or the SDS for safety. I don't know that I've seen an SDS for that stuff. I'm sure they have one. So I haven't used it, but I hear it is baller. I hear it will clean it. In fact, we were told, and I can tell you this, we were told by PTR that the cat cleaner is the best cleaner to clean the PIP. And knowing the anecdotal reports that from some like really reliable people that I know about them using the cat cleaner, I believe it, because it eats everything. And the PTR silencers are made out of titanium, so you're not going to break them with that cleaner. Now, I've heard someone put their stainless steel hub mount in that stuff and it dissolved it. I was like, oh my God. It's like something out of a Batman movie. Now, what's another one? Breakthrough suppressor cleaner is another really popular one. I hear it's good. And I hear it's not good. It's like when you go to Amazon review. It's really hard to trust reviews from people online, like stars and stuff. So it's like unreliable. These anecdotal reports, man. But though I've heard it's good and it's cheap enough to try it, it's not going to put you out a lot of money. It has a chemical in it, DMSO or something like that. I always butcher that acronym. It has a chemical in it, that breakthrough cleaner, that on its own is like probably safe, but it's actually it's what's called a transport mechanism. Once it touches your skin, it forms a transport mechanism and shuttles things in your bloodstream. So let's say you clean a silencer with it, the breakthrough stuff, and you pour it in a silencer, then you mess with the solution afterward, and you have like lead and carbon and all kinds of toxins from the combustion chain in the powder, and you touch it, it's going to go right into your bloodstream, like directly to like do not pass go, do not collect $200. It's going directly into your bloodstream, like no filter, like you're taking it, like you're intravenous into your bloodstream, right through your skin. Now, you think to yourself, I'm just going to use nitrile gloves to protect myself from breakthrough clean. Like the other day, I was cleaning my wife and I were watching Netflix after the kids went to bed. And I do what every reasonable man does sometimes when there's watching a Netflix show I'm not really into, and I clean my carry gun on a TV tray, because a clean weapon is a reliable weapon. And I was using nitrile gloves in part of the cleaning process, like I think when I was cleaning the barrel in the slide or something. If you use those same nitrile gloves while using the breakthrough suppressor cleaner with your silencer, did you know that chemical will go right through those gloves because they're not the appropriate gloves? You actually have to use butyl rubber gloves. And so if you looked at the SDS for that chemical that's in there, it would tell you the proper PPE, which I saw someone on Reddit talk about it the other day. I am so happy they brought it up to protect the public. It's a safety thing, guys. It's a safety thing. And that's right in the vein of Pew Science. I love talking about safety. I love protecting people. And so that's something to think about. But try that cleaner, get the proper PPE, and don't let your kids mess with it. Just, teach them proper safety practices. You obey proper safety practices and you'll be okay. And so to your question, like, what's my favorite cleaners? Like, I don't know. I've always used Milcom. It's like, smells like soap. It's non-toxic. I use that on my bores. Like it's safer and like less toxic than like Hops number 9, although Hops number 9 is fine. And like the smells kind of sort of sometimes. So I've used that. Sometimes in a pinch, when I need to clean something in the field, I'll literally use CLP, which is like not the best thing to clean with, but like if I need to clean something and lube it at the same time, which is like a quick and lazy thing, I try to use oil, like real oil, like when I'm using oil. So yeah, I've used the Milcom stuff for a while. I think that's what I cleaned my USP with on the TV tray the other day. Because by the way, I just got the right armory cut done to a spare slide. So it's funny. I cleaned my carry gun, and then the next day my new slide came, and I was like, oh, well, at least my barrel's clean. So yeah. So I think long term, man, to your main question here, if cavities in silencers are like really arduous and restrictive, and a lot of buildup gets deposited in them, is that going to be okay? Like, is your silencer going to clog up long term on these high maintenance designs? This is going to be a problem, and how do you clean them? I can tell you with HUXWRX designs, if you don't clean those silencers, you're going to be dead in the water and they're going to pop, because HUXWRX silencers have to relieve pressure, or because they're not strong enough to take all the pressure without relieving it. That's why HUXWRX silencers fail, because they fill up like bricks. Okay? Because there's so many flow paths. And how do HUXWRX flow silencers work? They work through surface area contact with high pressure. That's the efficiency mechanism. Okay? So with that, I would for sure follow the manufacturer instructions for HUXWRX flow silencers, and I would call them. I would not even go on the internet. I would call them and I would ask to talk. I need to talk with one of your technical people. You need to tell me exactly how many rounds I can shoot before cleaning, and I will clean it. I will clean it at least that much for a HUXWRX silencer for sure. Now, some of these other silencers, I don't think you have to clean them as much. There's an old rule of thumb that you should weigh your silencer when it's new, and then keep weighing it like every once in a while. And once it gets to an ounce heavier, you should clean it. I don't know. Maybe someone will do that test. Okay, but maybe follow something like that. I would say, when in doubt, follow manufacturing instructions. And if you have questions about that, tech@pewscience.com. We'll talk about your specific case, okay? Okay. Question 612, last one. This is going, we're almost an hour. Last one. 612, sub-question 22. Are there any hints in the reports that users can use to determine efficacy on Magnum calibers? Oh. There are hints in the reports, sir, ma'am. You got to read a lot, though. It's hard. There's so much. Maybe you can use AI to find it. I don't know. Maybe find it on a website. It's probably best to email us to ask if you have a question about that, because based on technology in each silencer, we can usually give a really good idea how things may perform. Sometimes we don't know, and we have to test it. I can tell you, like for Magnum, let me tell you something, brother. There was a time when we first discovered early time flow bypass and stagnation relief gains, and like really started to really understand it. We discovered that some silencers that combined that with some other features ended up thriving in high pressure. And that led us down the road to start to understand how technologies that were quote unquote borrowed from those silencers made their way into other silencers, and how those silencers would also work with high pressure. And it was like a whole taxonomy tree we started thinking about. And so it's all like, but we never wrote it all down. It's all like on the podcast and reports and stuff. Because we don't want to publish something that's like theoretical. We want it to be real. So, maybe the hints and the reports will start to become stronger when we show you more 6.5 PRC data, because we just tested another 6.5 PRC data, PRC silencer last week. It didn't do as well as the Predator 6.5, but it's smaller than Predator 6.5. But it'll give I think it has tech in it. Actually, it has tech in it that we've evaluated on other platforms, so we'll be able to know. So that's going to be good. Because you're talking about Magnum caliber, so it's not just high pressure. Let me qualify this. It's not just high pressure you're asking about. It's also combustion duration you're asking about, and those are two separate and distinct things. Okay. So you're asking how two variables change performance, which is cool, and we can know that sometimes. Okay. So that's my long answer. My short answer is there's some hints. Easter egg hunt. Okay. All right. I'm going to go ahead and highlight that row of listener questions. I'm going to save the spreadsheet and close it. We are finished with today's episode, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for all your enthusiasm about the research effort. I'm so proud that this is going on for over 6 years now. I just look at my calendar, July 2026, and we started this in March of 2020, right after the COVID, and we're still here. So, yeah. 0700 LayerX Strake 9 in the MP5. So be there or be square. I know subguns are great. Let's see what low back pressure can do and what it can't do. All right. We'll go with the deep dive next week. And we might even, and you know what? We're going to publish another report next week. And hey, maybe we'll do more subsonic next week, but something else, not the MP5. Ooh. We'll see. We'll wait and see. All right. Be good. Stay safe. I'll talk with you folks again soon. All right. Bye.